And here we are. Welcome, welcome to everyone logging on and watching, and welcome to my panel. We have more than just one guest today on Taya Talk. There's four of us, and you're not really guests because we work together every day, so you don't really feel like guests. We're just kind of making our craziness public, more so than usual, it seems. So, welcome to Taya Talk. I am David Strickle, your host for the next hour. And I am joined here today by our Director of Operations for the business, Carrie King.
Hello.
Our Director of Sales, which is really our Director of Enrollment, Brent Howell. And our Director of Marketing, which is actually our Director of Messaging, because we do everything's a little different here. Everything a little different here. Katarina Wanders. So, and you also know Katarina from my book. The first book that was out, which seems like a lifetime ago now, The Stream, Eternal Wisdom for a Better Life. We have another book. We do have another book. I promise we have another book. It's ready to go. And we will be publishing that this year in 2022. I don't have a month for you yet, but it will be sooner than later. I can promise you that. And we are publishing it. So you are going to get the actual stream, not what some publishing company. We've decided not to pursue that. I thought about it. I spent about a year thinking about it. I spent a year kind of talking to publishing companies and stuff, and they want to, they want to turn it into conversations with God, essentially. So
Yeah, I think maybe more like 3 years you spent thinking about this, but
well, no, we spent 5 years writing it and creating it and fleshing it all out. But I spent the last year kind of dipping into the idea of publishing and all this stuff. And the more I detune fear and judgment in my world, and you all know I'm all about detuning fear and judgment and just trusting. Well, if I detune fear and judgment and I trust, why would we not publish it ourselves?
heck yeah.
That feels a lot better to put the stream out there in its original form than to have a publishing company saying, "Oh, you can't say that. You might get canceled. You can't say that. Someone's going to cancel you if you say that." Well, we're not worried about that. If anyone wants to cancel us, they can cancel us. We're cool. We're cool with that. So we're going to put it out there. It's going to be the way it was delivered. It's mostly channeled material. It's a big book. So we will be publishing it ourselves this year. So that's the first exciting announcement. The Taya Practice book is coming. It's coming. It's taken 5 years to write and produce, and we're finally going to be launching it this year. Another exciting piece of information is that our Patreon community will be ready to launch. Because it's ready to launch. It will be ready to launch. In fact, it's set up now. You can actually join it now. And we're going to put a link up for you to join it now. And we will be launching all of the features and the content starting next week. So all of the things that you enjoy here in the Taya Practice Facebook group, if you're watching on the Facebook group, all of that and a whole lot more is going to move into our Patreon community. And I'm very, very, very excited to share that with all of you. In fact, I'm going to put the link to join that right now because I will forget. You all know that I will forget if I don't do it while I'm thinking about it. So the link to join our Patreon is up. It's a container right now that we're about to fill, but you can go ahead and get in. There's different levels of membership over there. The first level of membership is all about the expanded podcast that we're now creating. So if you listen to the Stream of David podcast, if you don't listen to the Stream of David podcast, check it out. We have 200 episodes over the last 4 years that we've produced. And that's going to live on the way that it is. We love the podcast. We know most of you love the podcast. We have a nice audience on the podcast. We're not changing that. It's going to be mostly channeling from the stream. I've heard you loud and clear. You don't necessarily want to hear my babbling. You want to hear from source. So I get it. So it will be stream channeled guidance on any and every topic, as always, without editing, without fear, sharing how source views everything. That's what the podcast is all about. And then the roundtable discussion that follows the podcast will be in our first tier of Patreon. So the first tier of Patreon will be all about that. The second tier of our Patreon membership will be a whole lot of stream. So all of these summits and things that we've been doing over last year, where we were charging $75 a ticket to come in and do the live, we're going to be offering all of that in Patreon for a monthly membership fee. And it's going to be the weekly, the show that I do with Debbie right now. We're going to move that and switch it up a little bit, but the live channeling that we do weekly will be happening over there now. Any Zoom summits that we do, you will have access to that via that tier of membership, and that's all it will cost you. It won't cost you any more than that. Gosh, what else? And then there's a top tier right now. We're going to create more tiers, but right now there's a top tier membership in Patreon where you get Taya coaching. So I talked last week about tearing down that big wall to learning the Taya practice, because we have the free version here in the Facebook group. Not many people will seem to partake in the stuff that we're offering here. I think that's an algorithm Facebook thing. I'm not worried about that anymore because we're offering it over in Patreon. You will be able to interact with the coaches on a weekly basis in our top tier Patreon. So you can begin your Taya journey for $50 a month. And boot camp is still going to be boot camp. We're not doing away with boot camp. Boot camp is phenomenal. If you've seen our testimonials, you know we have over 150 graduates that have completely transformed their lives with Taya boot camp. We're not changing that. We're really not changing anything about it other than this this sort of veil that formed over the years of the point of entry to it. Taya boot camp is an investment that costs thousands of dollars, but I have always accepted anyone coming in that came to me with a plan of, this is, I know I'm going to manifest the money for this. I don't have all of it right now. This is what my plan is. I've always allowed that. I just didn't really talk about that. And I realized that there was fear and judgment around me not talking about it. So if we're removing fear and judgment and we are allowing our abundance to flow, I want everyone to know that the stream's message is for all of humanity. The Taya practice is the practical application of their teachings. That is also for all of humanity, all that are aligned with it. And it's not a religion. There's no dogma. There's no need to listen to any of it. But if you're aligned with it, I want everyone who is aligned with it to be able to go as far as they want in this message. Absolutely. I've always wanted that. I really want that. I'm shouting it from the rooftops now. That is my intention with all of this that we do. Yes, there's commerce involved. There's money exchange back and forth. But I don't want that to be a barrier for anyone who wants to go as far as they want to go with these teachings, because I trust my abundance. I trust your abundance as well. So I'm not even concerned about that anymore. So that's what the Patreon program is all about, is being able to come in and offer a lot of value and a lot of content. And then the onus is on us to make sure we are serving you at the highest level, or you're not going to stick around, right? If you're paying every month for something, then we need to deliver for you an amazing experience. It needs to be worth your while to invest monthly in Patreon. So our attitude is, we have a lot to offer. We have a lot of coaching. We have a lot of love. We have a lot of care. We have a lot of things to offer the world. And if the world is investing in us, and if we are serving them at the highest level, then it's not even a question. It's not even a question. We will be serving at the highest level of all of these different tiers, depending on what you want to partake in. So with that said, those are our announcements. We do have a discussion that we're going to get into that is a Taya topic in a little bit that sort of ties to all of this. But I see Kat is sort of glowing over there. I think we've taken you on a trip down and up your spiral this morning already in the business. So why don't you share your thoughts on all of this and how you feel about all this, just so they can hear.
I'm glowing, huh? Yeah. That's exciting. So I'm super excited about this. I think I've been as we're making this transition, I've been kind of the one to line up in the front lines, like, yeah, let's go. So I don't have a whole lot to I don't really have a whole lot to say on the topic yet, because I want to see what it does and what happens. But this is something I've been kind of really rooting for and pushing for. Mostly I'm excited to get the book out. I'm just excited that we're going to go ahead and publish it ourselves, because I've been on board with whatever this whole industry does, but I definitely am the most excited about this, and especially the transformation that this is going to be for people getting into boot camp. So I'm just stoked. And I think a lot of you are going to notice several of us transitioning off of Facebook. So I'm pretty excited about that transition as well. Honestly, the only reason I'm still on there is for the Taya group. So yeah, I'm excited. That's what I got.
Thank you, Katerina. Brent.
Yes, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Here's what I'm excited about. I was in Taya boot camp 3 years ago at this time of year. And actually, it was about this time of year in February, March that I discovered David's podcast and talked with David about joining boot camp. And I joined pretty quickly on that call. But what I learned and experienced after leaving boot camp and staying active with the Taya community on Facebook that I wasn't prepared for and wasn't aware of was, as folks continue to join boot camp and become transformed and then leave the boot camp period, everyone popped out of boot camp a different person with just a completely refreshed energy for life. And they stayed active with our Taya group. Everyone that's involved with our effort, the Taya operation, the Stream of David, is a boot camp graduate. And that happened organically. And there are just so many people that I interact with on a daily basis with our business that I remember when they got into boot camp, and I remember when they got out of boot camp, and I'm watching their their expression of gifts, their expression of the Taya effect in their life, and every single person is thrilled and happy to be doing what they're doing in their life and contributing to the Taya experience. So, David, to answer your question, what I'm excited about are the hundreds or thousands of people in the future that are going to join boot camp and become so resonant with the Taya operation system, the Taya way of life, the Taya way of living, that they decide to stay with us and expand our experience to the world. Because as we've been talking in the last number of weeks, the Taya program is the message. We are the stream's message. And I am just thrilled to think of all of the new people that are going to join us and add their voice to the Taya message that we are. That's what I'm excited about.
Very nice, Brent. Thank you. Thank you. And our oceanfront Belizean operations manager. Show them your view. Let's just see the view that you've manifested. Can you do that or not? If you can't do that,
I
can pick
can.
my camera up and move it all around. I forget that everybody can do that.
Yeah,
That's a great view.
I have to just turn my computer and I can do that. I don't know. It's a little cloudy today, so let's see if that. Yeah, you can see that, right?
Yeah, that would be the ocean right there.
Yes.
That's so nice.
That's my view, and I love it. And hopefully, now that I'm actually moved into my new place, I will begin to get my office set up and my furniture and all that good stuff. And I'm trying to plug my computer back in, and I will be able to share that view with you all the time. Right? Okay, I can't plug in. Okay, so what I'm excited about, one is, of course, I too got to go through boot camp and meet David, and then I also got to change careers, and now I work with David, which was my dream job and what I had dreamed of creating as well. A place for people to come together and have community and be uplifted and encouraged, and without the judgment, to encourage each other, to uplift each other, to share with each other that we can create whatever our dream is. Mine was to live on an island, and that might not be everyone's dream. Yours might be to be in the mountains or something, but that you can create that. And to me, to be a part of it and to allow new people to come in and learn the Taya message and begin to learn the Taya tools, and to see how it creates that beauty and that magic in their lives is that's better to me than anything on this earth, is to watch each person change and grow and be happier and more clear and more joyful in their own life, whatever that looks like. And the fact that I get a front row seat to that and get to work side by side with this amazing team, and is just absolutely a beautiful gift. And I just am so excited to watch this unfold. And the fact that, I just, the fact that David continues to always view it and look at it from a zoomed out perspective and like, okay, this isn't working. And instead of saying, this isn't working, forget it. How can we make it work? What can we do better? How can we serve our community in a better way? So I'm very excited, because I do think that Facebook has been lovely and served its purpose, but I do believe opening up on the new platform is going to allow us to reach more people, and more people can see our posts and be involved and learn this message. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. And also I think you mentioned it, David, but I would like to mention it again. We are keeping Facebook open for a while, so it's going to be a slow transition. So, and we will continue to let you have updates. And I loved that you posted the link. So we will continue to share that. So no person that's in Facebook will be left behind if you so choose to follow us.
Yeah, the link is up. You can join now, and you can choose your level, and you can upgrade, downgrade. You can exit anytime you want. It's completely up to you how you run that. And again, as long as we're serving you and you're receiving something from it, then the vibe is super high. The vibe is super, super high, and we're not going to be working with or against an algorithm. We post things in the Facebook group, and we don't get, oh, well, the algorithm, you didn't post it just then, and enough people didn't like it right away, so no one saw it. Patreon is not like that. You go into your Patreon account, the Stream of David page, and everything that we're doing is right there. And you can choose the level that you want to be associated with every month. And again, if you're loving it and we're giving you everything that you want and need spiritually, or at least helping feed that, then you're going to stick around. And that's our intention, is to serve humanity at the highest level, and to not have this huge barrier of you must climb over this $10,000 wall to get into boot camp. It's important to really point out that it was never our intention to have that. The boot camp experience is special. It is a big deal. It is an investment of time, money, effort. It's extremely transformative, and we want to hold that vibration. We're not looking to change that, but we want that point of entry to be open to everyone, and being able to offer coaching in this Patreon page. It's a path to boot camp. And then the path to boot camp opens up even more from there, simply in that we're very open into different arrangements for people to get in. It's never been you've got to do all of this right now scenario, but we haven't been real forthcoming about that. We kind of kept the pricing of it secret. And that was because I didn't want to freak anybody out, because I knew if somebody came to a discovery meeting, then we talked about, okay, this is a $10,000 investment to start your boot camp journey, and there's no way they can pay for that. And a lot of people can and do. In fact, most people that join Taya Boot Camp pay in full, but not everybody does. Not everybody does. People come back and say, hey, I can't do that. I can't even begin to get anywhere near that right now. This is what I can do, and I know that I'm going to manifest the money to do it. I have always said yes to that, and I have never been disappointed by it. And in 4 years and over 150 graduates, everyone has always manifested the money and paid, always. So that's not even a question. But I have had plenty of people say, gosh, if you had told me that it was that much money, I would have never booked the call in the first place, because there's so much fear. How could it be that expensive? How could it be worth all of that? So that's why we didn't talk about it, because I didn't want it to be about money. And people are so skeptical around money, they didn't believe me. Well, you're being evasive. You're not telling us. I would say, just get on the discovery meeting and we'll talk about it. So I wanted to take all the smoke and mirrors out of it. That was never my intention. That's not a good vibe. If we're detuning fear and judgment, if we're trusting our abundance, we have this amazing thing. Everyone who's aligned with it can get in. We want to talk to you if you're interested at all. And even if you're not to that place yet where you're ready to jump in and do that work, we have now a path to begin your Taya journey that's not this big wall. We're tearing down the wall. We want to tear down the wall altogether. So we're really, really, really excited that we're able to offer all of this to all of you. And I can't wait to get in there and start offering up the super high vibrational content to people who are exchanging to be there and will show up for it. And that's just how our world works. We are all exchanging for everything. Even the air that we breathe, we are part of the earth environment, and our physical vehicle is contributing to it. It absolutely is. We are exchanging for everything. So I think the system of exchange that we have in this world is brilliant, and I love it. And being at the top of the pyramid of exchange is understanding that the more you appreciate something, the more the vibe raises around it, and the whole subject changes, no matter what that subject is. Appreciation is the key. Appreciation is detuning of transgressors. And the human created operating system that we talk about all the time, we call it the matrix. That has a lot of transgressor energy in it. It's very polarized. I want to be clear that we're all in the matrix. We're all part of the human created matrix. It's our human created belief system. And I want to be clear that we want to notice it and notice when we're in it without judging it. Because I don't want to fall into this, well, I'm into the stream and we're not in the matrix, man, and you're in the matrix and you're all polarized. And, it's easy to slip into that judgment. But when you're in judgment, you're back in the matrix. You're there. So we all slip into it sometimes. But this practice and the stream's message is all about systematic detuning of fear and judgment, thus allowing yourself to trust the universe to deliver abundance. And when we're getting out of our ego and when we're getting out of polarity, abundance is assured. It just naturally flows. And that's the magic of this message, is really getting into understanding that. What vibrational flow does, what low vibrational period is all about. In fact, I really want to get into that. So I want to say hello to a lot of people that are watching. Stacy is off-site today, but I guess we're all off-site. But she is otherwise occupied, but I see she said hello. That's why she's not on with us. If you know, Stacy is our lead Taya coach. And I see Janine Besnier, a Taya grad. Cheryl, hello to you. It's good talking to you the other day. I can't wait to get you into boot camp. Deborah Wilson, Taya coach Deborah Wilson and boot camp grad. Luke, I see all of you on here. Joe, good seeing you as always. Say hello if you're watching. There's a whole lot of you watching right now, so pop in a little hello. Let us know you're here, because all I see is a number on the screen. And I really want to just celebrate this sort of rebirth of this whole thing that we do. It just feels so fresh and exciting, and the vibe is so high around just putting it all out there and building this community of people all over the world who want to detune fear and judgment in their lives, who want to trust more, who want to be able to see humanity and everything that's happening in our world through the eyes of Source. Because when you're not in that space, the world can be a scary place. It can be a very scary place. You turn on the news or social media or flip on the TikTok, and everything right now is war and whose fault it is, and scary stuff and all of that sort of thing. And it's so nice to be able to observe the matrix without being drawn into it and lowering your vibration with fear and judgment. Hi, everybody. Good to see all of you saying. So if you have questions around this, if you have questions around the power of detuning fear and judgment, you can ask that. Also, I really want to dive into, and I'm going to open this up to our panel to kind of discuss here, the value of low vibration. Because there's so many people that really seem to be focusing on, you got to just get your vibe up. You got to get your vibe up, and you have to have your vibe up all the time. And you've got to be operating in high vibration all the time. Well, polarity ensures that that's not going to happen no matter what. There's no cure for polarity. Therefore, there is no cure for what we call vibrational flow. And if you don't know what vibrational flow is, think about it in terms of this. And if you're new to our teachings, I will tell you, we always talk about concepts and guide you, if you so choose, to apply it in your life. Do your own experimentation, prove it to yourselves. Don't believe anything just because the stream says so. The stream is constantly saying, think about it, how this operates in your life. So we're aware that our emotions are the same thing as our vibration. It's an expression of our vibration, is what we're feeling emotionally. And our emotions are not static. Not one of us are emotionally static. Even if we're taking some medication to try to keep our emotions that way, we're still on this vibrational journey, up and down, up and down, up and down. Some more than others, I understand that, but we're all higher vibrational some days, more hopeful, more joyful for no particular reason. And other days we are less than that for no particular reason. That's vibrational flow. We all exist in vibrational flow, and that vibrational flow is creating this mixed point of attraction. That's why we're all receiving some things that we enjoy and want in our lives, and we're all receiving some things that we are not wanting in our lives. So if we understand vibrational flow, and we understand that we're not going to cure that because it's exactly what we came here to experience, which is what the stream teaches, then how do we move through that lower vibrational period and trust it and appreciate it and benefit from it? Who wants to go first?
I do.
Katarina?
This is kind of my specialty. So something that's been a huge factor for me is just, like you said, enjoying the ride. And I've been through, I grew up in a religious environment, and then I've been through we'll just say the spiritual community a lot over the years. I traveled with the circus and stuff like that. And there was, a bunch of hippies out there, and everybody was always in the be here now mindset of, like, if something was going wrong, there was something wrong with you. And I've even run into this in this community in some ways up until fairly recently, as the stream has really dived more into this, because the stream has focused a lot on, I want to say the past 6 months or so, on just vibrational flow. Maybe it's been like the last year or so, but they've been really bringing up the vibrational flow thing of, like, there's nothing wrong with being down your spiral. Just don't do anything while you're down there. Don't pick up the phone and call your mom or your kid or your boyfriend and just, let it all out on them. Because they say, like, when you're upset and you let the word vomit come out, everybody around you, like, you might feel better, but everyone around you is now covered in vomit. So maybe that's not the best way to handle it.
I was going to say that's a little different than the way the stream puts it, but that's fine.
No, that was me. That wasn't the stream. But it's an analogy I've thought about a lot, because, when you're around someone who's really upset about something and they're just projecting everything out onto everyone else, no one else in the room is going to feel better except for the person, we'll just say, venting. However, that got me really thinking a lot about the beauty of going down your spiral. When you're down there, there's a lot to be learned from it. So, like, if you liken it to a haunted house or watching a horror movie, it's really scary, but it's exciting, and there's all this crazy stuff going on, and then it's over, and you got through the excitement. There is actually a lot to gain from it. Or like David likened it to getting a tattoo. When you got your Taya tattoo, you know, it's painful while it's happening, but you know it's for a purpose. So the pain is productive. So I've been really delving into that lately, because when I first got into Taya, I didn't really go down my spiral for like 2 years. I was just happy all the time. And I have to say, I've grown more now that I've allowed myself to go down there and just hang out and use the tools and things like that. And, you know, I don't call people when I'm down my spiral. I've learned to just kind of go into my little turtle shell, but it's beautiful. I come out on the other end like, okay, that was actually a lot of fun. Kind of like watching a horror movie, and I love horror. So horror is one of my favorite things. And once I made that comparison, it was this huge transformation for me. So when I talk to people, especially within this community, that are getting upset that something might have gone wrong, or like, you know, when something happens that you're not enjoying, a lot of people say, check in with your vibration. Where are you at? Why is this happening? I'm like, who cares why this is happening? Enjoy the ride, and then enjoy the benefits afterward. And it's been very transformative for me. And I know it has been for a lot of others as well that I've talked to, once they realized it was actually okay for things not to be going perfectly for a little bit, because you're always going to go over the hump of the roller coaster. You might go down, you're going to come back up. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's been my big aha in the last like year or so.
I do love that clarity, and I love that you describe it very differently than I do, because it serves again, it serves the audience in a different way, and that's what you're always going to get that from our world, because I love bringing in other graduates, obviously to work in the team, but as coaches, and everyone here is a coach in their own way, and coaching this and all the little nuances of it, and coaching it in their own unique way, allows us to serve the audience on a much broader scale. So there is the cat brand of I know it's Katarina, but I love the cat brand. The cat brand of the Streams teachings, and there's the Stacy brand and the Carrie brand and the Brent brand, and it helps people relate to it in different ways, for sure. And gosh, I know I can take it way out there sometimes. The stream is getting really, really, really out there. It really is, but it is out there. It is really out there. But the thing that I love about how we do this is the stream shares this really heady stuff, and then we sort of unpack it and apply it in our lives and see how it actually works, and then share that out with the world. And the moving through low vibration, I can't imagine anything that serves humanity more than, because every human being moves through low vibration vibrational flow, or low vibration flow, I guess I should say, and understanding that there's value there, that there is great value there. In fact, most of our expansion actually starts there. Us becoming more sophisticated versions of ourselves, us then contributing to the expansion of the universe by allowing the universe to become a more sophisticated version of itself. That's the whole purpose of polarity. That's the whole purpose of physical, that we project into these physical environments and we experience things that we want to experience. We have desires. As physically manifested beings, we have desires. Always, 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 always. There's some desire. And we move through our vibrational flow toward our desires. So there's this obstacle course, so to speak, for us to receive our desires. The obstacles allow us to create that desire on an even higher level. So the things that we refer to as spin outs, when your health spins out, or your relationship spins out, or your finances spin out, or your job or your business or your friendships, whatever it is, these spin outs are providing opportunities for us to build back something that's even more magnificent, create on an even higher level. And when something falls apart and is sort of burns to the ground, if you will, that's always our own manifestation of us wanting to make an even better version of it. The earth is continually overriding itself as a better version of earth, a more sophisticated version of earth. Our bodies are doing that too. Our bodies are continually desiring to become more sophisticated versions, overriding. growing, expanding, all of these things. And that is what vibrational flow delivers to us. Going down into lower vibrational territory, seeing what's in our vibrational basement, if you will, what's lurking down there in the bottom of our spiral. What can I detune? What transgressors are present? What baggage, what's down there weighting us down vibrationally? And it's sort of like you go in the basement with a flashlight when you're down your spiral, and you shine the light, and there it is. There's that thing that I thought I detuned that still has some life to it, that I now get to work on a little more. That's what this practice is. And when you work on that stuff a little more and you start clearing out your vibrational basement, your default vibration does go up. And when your default vibration goes up, life gets better. More joy, more clarity, more abundance, better relationships, loving yourself more source connection. There's no end to it. I've been practicing this now for 13, 14 years, and I have yet to find a ceiling. All of these people that work around me every day know that it's like, oh my God, a whole new level of clarity. It just keeps expanding.
And that's like a weekly thing.
Yeah, it's pretty frequent these days. But the low vibration is exactly what creates that. Because look at the spin outs I've had over the last few months. I got sick, physically sick. And I realized that my physical body had spun out. I was really getting out of shape, and I couldn't do the things physically that I wanted to do anymore. Business spin outs, all of these spin outs that I created for myself did nothing but level me up higher than I've ever been before. And it's not because the stream is flowing to me. I'm not special. In fact, I make a real point to let everybody know how unspecial I really am. The stream is flowing to everyone, and everyone's receiving it in their own way. I get a super level of clarity that I love sharing with all of you, but I still go through the experience. They're not solving or stopping me from going down my spiral, or saving me from contrast, or saving me from a spin out. And I don't need them to. That's the thing. Even now, I've gotten to a place when I'm in the spin out, I'm appreciating the spin out while I'm in it. Here I am in this spin out, and I can tune to a different vibration instantaneously, because we all can. We all can. You can move to the appreciation vibration on any topic at any time, zooming out to source perspective, meaning appreciation of all that is. Carrie,
you're still
or Brent?
Special to us, David.
Anybody? Who else wants to chime in on that? Carrie or Brent?
I'll provide my perspective. Is that all right, Carrie?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, sure. Well, boy, thank you, David. Thank you for those last 5 or 8 minutes of discourse. I filled a half a page with notes just because of your language. And that's one reason why I enjoy the stream of David so much, is your clarity. Thank you for that. Here's my perspective on being down the spiral. One of the most important tools that we learn in Taya is the vibrational spiral, where there is a midpoint where there's neither high vibration, low vibration. And most folks live their lives before we have the Taya tools in a degree of down the spiral, a few degrees. And what I've learned, and what we've all learned in the Taya tools, is our default vibration is probably down a few degrees below neutral. And that's not who we are supposed to be. That's not who we are in Source's eyes. And it doesn't provide the best conditions for us to enjoy life. And that's maybe the emotional baggage that a lot of people feel all the time. They just feel bad because, you feel bad when you're down the vibrational spiral. However, this plane that we're in, this earthly plane, it was created for us to have, for our souls to have physical experiences and to enjoy physical experiences. And it is also a school. This is a teaching environment. I've often said you don't learn much when you're fat and happy. When you are uncomfortable is when you learn, and that's by design. Okay, so when I when I got into Taya and I identified where I was in the vibrational spiral, and I learned how to raise my default vibration over time to a level where life just didn't suck all the time the way it did before I began using the Taya tools. Depression, unhappiness, frustration, all that negative stuff. And I know I got to a nice level off period for probably a year and a half, 2 years or so. And it's just very enjoyable. Another concept that you learn in Taya is as you raise your default vibration and as you live life applying the Taya tools, your old highs become your new lows. And that is a miracle. It's a wonderful experience to have it happen, to realize it happened even just the first time. It's like, oh my gosh, this works. And I feel so much better. Well, get used to it. It happens over and over and over and over as you learn to raise your default vibration, as you also learn to hear the voices of what is still a part of you that causes you to go down the vibrational spiral. So, um, it's important to know that your default vibration is not static. Is constantly rising. And if you backslide and don't use the tools and don't apply a lot of this, yeah, you will slide back down with your default vibration and you will feel it so strongly because now you have your sensors and your antennae out to recognize that. So, um, what I feel and how I process being down the vibrational spiral now, first of all, I don't beat myself up for feeling that way because I know over the last 3 years I have raised my default vibration to a point that I never felt possible. I'm living a life now that I never thought would exist. So I don't beat myself up. But then, when you're down vibrational spiral, you're not comfortable, you're not happy, you feel discomfort. So with lack of judgment, lack of fear, I zoom out just a little bit, I back off from myself, and I'm like, what is this? What's causing this discomfort? Where's this discomfort coming from? And it's a limiting belief of some sort. um, Judgment, or a structure that hasn't grown with me. So once I identify what that discomfort is and that limiting belief, I detune it, put it behind me. It doesn't exist anymore, and then I move on up. And also with that discomfort that you feel, another way to look at it instead of what is this is, all right, I'm a spirit having a human experience. And this is school. This plane is school. What am I supposed to learn from this feeling? What is it that I'm supposed to learn? Because we were put here to have wonderful experiences and to learn. So I look at it. What am I supposed to learn from this? And again, no fear, no judgment, no criticism, no negativity. And after a number of days, it will come to me. I'll understand the thought. I will immediately appreciate learning with the minds that we've been given, and I'll go back up to my vibration. So that's how I process being down the vibrational spiral.
Thank you for sharing that. That's I think it's a really good method, and you've been out of boot camp for 3 years, so you've really got your rhythm down on how you manage that vibrational flow.
Mm.
Because, like I said at the beginning of this, we're not curing vibrational flow, nor do we even want to, but we can learn to experience it very differently. And the magic is experiencing that low vibrational space in appreciation, really, without even a hesitation.
Correct.
Just appreciating and trusting the whole process, acknowledging that being up feels better than being down. Of course it does. Because if there were no differential between those things, then there wouldn't really be an up. And like you said, your old low, your old high becomes your new low,
Right.
and that's very true. When people get into boot camp, and they get in and they're like, "Wow, my vibe's really low, and this really sucks, and I don't understand, what's going on." And I always tell them, it's sort of like if you fly coach your whole life, and then you get bumped up to first class a few times, suddenly you don't have the same appreciation for coach that you perhaps once did. Coach sucks a lot more when you're used to flying in first class, and then you have to go back to coach. It's the same thing. When you raise your default vibration, you get into that new higher space and you love it. It feels amazing. You really are trusting, and you're seeing how much abundance flows when you're trusting more. That's the key to all of it. And then when you dip down a little bit, it's very easy to judge that in the beginning. And that happens. That's part of the boot camp journey that we expect to occur, that you're noticing it more. You're not going lower. You're just more aware of your vibration. But how valuable it is to become keenly aware of our vibration, because our vibration is creating our reality. So that's the thing. That's the thing, because it's not about, sitting and meditating and having 10 20 30 minutes a day, maybe 45 minutes a day of trying to intentionally create something. I'm rich, money is flowing to me, I'm saying my affirmations, and then the rest of the day, where is it? Why isn't it showing up? There's another bill. This sucks. This doesn't work. This law of attraction stuff is BS. I know that. I know that a lot of people experience that, but it's not because of your daily meditation that you're receiving things. It's because of your all day, every day default vibration. That's what you're really manifesting on, is your default vibration. And polarity is there to make sure your default vibration is not just tuned to every single thing that I want all the time with no challenges. It sounds nice on the surface, but you wouldn't be expanding in any way if you didn't want for anything. In fact, you would manifest so much that would create its own contrast. Careful what you wish for. We've all heard that saying, right? Carrie, do you have anything to add to this? And before we wrap up?
Well, I'm laughing because as you know, and I've talked about often, is in learning the TIE tools and working on my up and down the spiral, and as David said, going down when you're down, looking around to see, I had to let go of fear, because that was a big one for me, because I'm not like Katarina. I don't like scary stuff. And I like my Disneyland world and, my Disney movies. So going down the spiral was a little scary. But then as I used my Taya tools and began to trust and believe more that I had the tools to go down there and be safe and look around and allow the fear to go away, I discovered so many beautiful golden nuggets in the basement of, I didn't view it this way, or I didn't see it this way. And it's not so scary. But I was laughing when you just said that, David, because, I struggled selling my house and getting moved and all that. And it was a long journey, and the same thing. I would trust and believe when I was up my spiral, and my house is going to sell quick and I'm going to move. And then it wouldn't happen in the timeline I thought it should. So then the hammer comes out. Well, where is it? What's it? So when I finally did, it literally happened so fast. And it was a lovely up the spiral. I sold it. I found this place in Belize, and it just all transpired super fast. But in that, there were a lot of bumps in the road, but I was looking at the bumps, but not not detuning them, not dusting them off. And so as the bumps in the road became bigger and bigger, obstacles, I realized, as we've all said, it was something I was doing, so I needed to stop. Where is my vibe? There's a lot of excitement of the move, but there was also a lot of get it done. I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And, I've got to get packed. And how am I going to
I
get
love
done?
that, you notice that the universe is not sending us anything.
No.
Nothing. The universe is not teaching us a lesson. The universe is not deciding a timeline. The universe is not doing any of that stuff. Vibrational flow is doing that. And how we react to our vibrational flow is what's creating the reality, not the universe deciding, oh, Carrie, it's not time to sell your house yet. You just wait.
Yeah.
Vibrational flow creates that. And when you really get into studying that and understanding it, it's like you really understand the process of creation.
Mm-hmm. And boy, does the flow open up when you realize how much your vibration really is everything. And so I always loved hearing your story, David, about going down in the basement with the flashlight, right? So the dark corners aren't so scary. I have a light. And then Katarina's, it's a roller coaster, and to enjoy, because of course the going up, the anticipation, and then the going down on the roller coaster is the exciting, thrilling. And when you shared that a while back, I was like, oh, I had this huge aha moment of, yeah, that's the fun part. Let's go down and see what's in that basement, because clearly I have more things to detune. And the more I detune them and shine light on them, the higher my vibration can be. And then all the beautiful things that I want to create flow in. And it really is, it's very simple, but I think as humans, we make it complex. Because I, like David and Brent, I believe was a, very, I've got to have a list and I've got to hammer it and I've got to get it done and I've got to make this happen. And I'm really learning to realize to lean back and pay attention to what I'm doing and allow it to happen. And that's the beauty, I think, of Taya.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you are truly a master of it. I love watching you just manifest magic in your life every day. I want to say hi to some people that said hi to us. So Sam, hello. Emma, Vanessa, good to see you on here. Star, thank you all for saying hello. And if you haven't registered with StreamYard, we don't get to see your name on this side of things. But I see a couple of comments from Facebook user. Does the stream ever say hello to Abraham? The stream is Abraham, and Abraham is the stream. It's source. It's all the same thing. It's source consciousness that flows through all creation. And Abraham is Esther's version. Her channeling of Abraham is using her mind to share her connection to source. The stream is exactly the same thing through me. My intention with sharing the stream is to get out of the way of the message as much as I possibly can and share it as purely and authentically as possible. And I'm sure that's Esther's intention with sharing Abraham as well. And I haven't really paid attention to any other channels. I know there are others out there. Esther is absolutely the person that I was guided to, first by a psychic and then divinely guided to, if you will, that made channeling. I had a lot of judgment around being a channel. I knew that I had information. I knew that I had a connection, but for years and years and years and years, I didn't want anybody to know about that. I was freaked out by it. I was very judgmental around it until I wasn't anymore. And discovering Esther channeling Abraham, I even acknowledged this in my first book. That's what made this so palatable for me, that, oh, that's not so weird. That sounds amazing. This looks like fun. This isn't, I don't care if I'm judged, but it got me to that place. So I definitely credit Esther's sharing of Abraham. And she and I actually have a mutual friend here in the desert. There's somebody that's known Esther for years and years and years that I'm also friends with out here. And he met her way back when there were 5 people at her workshop and she was taking money at the door. That's how long he's known Esther. So it's kind of cool that we share a friend. I have not met her, but we do have a mutual friend. And I am very, very, very drawn to the Texas Hill Country, and she lives there. I'm from Texas originally, and she lives out in the Texas Hill Country, at least part-time, I believe. And I'm also very drawn to that area, so I don't know what all that's about. We also have birthdays that are like 3 days apart. I think 20 years and 3 days apart. So there's those little similarities with her. I would love to meet her, probably, but more than anybody else on the planet. If I could, list one person to want to meet, it would probably be Esther. But the messages, I don't think there's any conflict in the messages. My intention with the stream was not to copy Abraham or regurgitate what Abraham was already offering to the world, but to allow the stream to become its own thing. When I first met Katerina, I was very clear about that. I'm not trying to be the next Abraham or copy Abraham or do any of that stuff. So much so that I really cut myself off from it. So I haven't heard Abraham in years. And guess what? The stream became its own thing. Own teachings, own flavor, not contradictory. Universal law is universal law, but we have our own tools and our own teaching and our own thing that we've created. There'll never be another Abraham. There'll never be another stream the way that we know it. And every channel has their own vibe, and that's what we're offering up here. So to answer that question, they don't have to really say hello because they're really one and the same. The other thing is this same person, I believe, Facebook user, wants to know about Brent's background. And not I think your background behind you. Where did Brent got that background? Where did Brent get the background that you have?
Google. Oh, no, sorry, Amazon. It's just a cloth sheet.
But it's a map of the world. It's a world map sheet.
Yep.
There you go. Amazon.com. You should have a link for them to buy that. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right, everybody. I want to invite all of you to join our Patreon community. We will be doing a lot more of this over there. We will be closing out of the Facebook group over the next 90 days or so. We'll be moving everything, all of our content, everything will be moving over to our Patreon community. And our podcast will still be out there as a podcast every week, new episodes of me channeling the stream. The expanded version of the podcast will be now available on Patreon, which will be this expanded roundtable discussion of what the stream has shared in that episode. Our live streams like this, Taya Talks, the sharing of the stream and live video, all of the stuff that we've been doing kind of everywhere, we are containing over in the Patreon community now. We're also going to have a level of coaching there that we have not offered before in Patreon for people that want to start their Taya journey pre-boot camp. And maybe boot camp is never the course for some people. And maybe you want to learn Taya your own way without getting in and doing all of that work in boot camp. We want to open that up too. And that's going to be available there as well. So you can learn Taya your own way at your own pace. When you're ready for boot camp, if you're ready for boot camp, it's open to all. Money will never be a barrier for anything that we offer. I don't want to have that big wall of thousands of dollars for people to get in to learn this stuff anymore. I want to be very, very clear that we're really opening ourselves up, our hearts up to all of humanity, and we're pouring a lot of value into this for all of you and looking to serve humanity at the highest level. And that's why we're creating the Patreon group. You can all click on the link. You can go join at whatever level you're comfortable joining at, become part of it, upgrade, downgrade, exit. I really have this vision of this sort of stream superhighway where people can get on, they can get off, they can stop at a rest area if they want, they can move into the fast lane if they want, they can go at their own pace because not everybody is the same. We had a meeting yesterday with the broader that this is not the whole team. We have 18, 19 people in the team now. And most of them are boot camp graduates. In fact, almost all of them are boot camp graduates. And somebody was saying that they listened to the podcast for 3 years before they got into boot camp. And I know Bob, a recent graduate of boot camp, I think he joined after 3 days. He discovered the stream and got right into boot camp. So there's not a one size fits all world. We're all on different paths. And I want to serve everyone at the highest level and allow people to go as deep into the stream's teachings as they want to go and as they're ready for. And we're offering all of that up. So click the link, join Patreon. You're getting into our private community by doing that. And we will begin feeding and posting in that community next week. We're preparing content for it right now. And everything that we do other than the podcast, we'll still have some social media, little clips of the stream and stuff like that. I love that kind of for outreach, but everything beyond the podcast is going to be there that we do. So all live channeling, Taya Talks, coaching, availability to interact with the coaches, the shows that the coaches are going to do over there. All of these exciting things are going to happen. When you click the link, you can see what each of these levels offers you. And dive in. We're looking forward to seeing all of you over there. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. And thank you all to my panel for showing up for me today. I do appreciate this, showing up for the stream's message. So much gratitude to all of you for all that you do. And those of you that are watching, to you as well, because we're all co-creators of all of this. Your asking is what draws this out. Your frustration with this is what is created this this new vibration that is such a vibration of trust, such a vibration of high allowing, that we have moved into this space now because of the collective. So thank you all so much.